Hello and welcome back. I'm B-Ball Joe, and this is Workers and Resources Soviet Republic. Today I want to tell you everything that I've learned, everything that I didn't know, and things that may help you along with your games. So stick around to hear that. Okay, first, let me start with, I am actually pretty happy with the start. If you watch the first 10 episodes, it was pretty good up to this area where we do the food. It was just not working because the way the trains work right now wasn't functioning the way I needed it. Once the next update comes out, that may change because we are supposed to be able to load and unload certain products instead of the whole train. So that should be better. But 200 people is more than enough. This is where we started. All these 5 bigger buildings, a store, a couple platforms, cinema? Yeah, theater. Fire station, a little school, couple of these guys in the university. That was all we needed to get started, and it was great. And yeah, the thing that didn't work, small storages like this. It works if you have a tiny area that you want to build on. But once you go beyond that, it's just going to be a traffic jam because the real problem is here. There's only one way in or out. That means the truck that loads has to use the same road and the same unloading station as the truck that unloads. There are factory connections on these, but honestly, just use the cargo stations. They are fine for what they do. The next thing, okay, my start wasn't perfect, by no means. The next thing, heating. Heating should be essentially the first building that you build. Don't even worry about gravel. You need heating if you have seasons on, period. If you don't have that, that's bad. The other thing I learned, this heating spaghetti that's going on here. The heating plant has 1,050 cubic meter of heat water available. And each of these pipes can carry 300. And each of these large exchangers can also hold 300. So one big pipe to one large exchanger, which means 3 pipes and a little bit extra, and 150 extra are available in the large heating plant. And that's it. There's no more. So keep that in mind when you do your heat exchangers, and I'll get to that again later. Outside of that, this city has been essentially fueling everyone that lives in the Republic. Where are we now? 87,000, almost 90,000. But this is where it all started, and this is where it all worked, and it's all fine. Next thing, I learned that in farms, the little 3-spot farms, well, you can only assign one farm to one field, to a field. A field cannot have more than one farm assigned to it. So, well, if you use the small ones, depends what ratio you like. I like the ratio of 1:1 because of the test that I did, because there's more optimization you can do. But I think 1:2 is also feasible. 1 tractor to 2 harvesters. It's doable, but it's a little harder. A tractor. Well, don't just do large fields, also do 1 or 2 medium fields in there, because the medium fields, as long as you do it first, will get done first and you can harvest sooner, and it kind of works out. Do that a little bit. This one, cableways, cableways, cableways. I thought I knew that, but I don't think I ever went as hardcore on cableways as I did in this game. They are amazing. They can handle up to 300 people a shift, which means all of these are effectively full most of the time, and that's exactly what we want. Even for the coal mine, everything was working just fine, and I am using the coal that comes from here. And how many trains do we have now? 5? Oh, more than that. 5, 6, 7. 7 trains, and some of them are pretty big, and they can all handle this, so this is great. This area, when I build it, honestly, the humongous farm that has 12 slots, doesn't matter if you don't have a good layout, and this layout is terrible. The farm should be in the middle, a gas station on this size, there should be 1 on the left cluster, 1 on the right cluster, and then spread out the fields a little bit. And then that should be good. Steel. I always underestimate steel. Steel needs a lot of people, and you need to be able to supply those people. The train routes are okay, but they're better now than they were at the beginning, and that's the next thing I'll talk about. But this whole area is actually working pretty well. But the amount of steel that you actually need, it's a lot. So don't sell yourself short, because you need mechanical components, you need building materials, rail, everything. Like right now I'm not building anything, so steel is not really a problem, but steel, you want a lot of steel, so you want to bring a lot of people in here, and if you actually map it out, you can consume 375 and 200. These can produce 420 and 450. So yeah, you need 2 of these each at least to supply this one, and then, hey, the ratios, the worker ratios are never the same. Rail. You remember the roundabout that was here? There's a little leftover of it. Terrible. A roundabout is great for rail construction offices to get where they need to go. It is terrible for everything else. Don't do it. Don't even do a lot of these level junctions. You're just gonna block yourself. This one is a one stop, and there's 4 trains or 3 trains sitting here, and there's a little rail yard there where they can wait, so nobody ever blocks anything here. This is how you want to build it. Build a big rail yard that's off to the side of the main line that doesn't block anyone that you can get to. And then if you really have to build junctions, non-blocking junctions. What is that? Don't have this. This would connect them, and then you would be able to block some places. Even though you couldn't move anywhere, it would be blocked. Non-blocking junctions, meaning nobody can cross to the other line and block someone at the same time. This is what you want. Build these. There's many different designs. Quad track, 6 tuple. No, what's that? Just more tracks. Totally worth it. Do that. Construction offices. At the beginning, I used these modded ones with 20. It's not necessary. At the very end, I did like the construction offices with 4. But let me see if I can find it. No, it's 3. Here's a 4. Just these. You need a lot of cranes, excavators, and bulldozers. But this is enough. Like a handful of excavators, couple bulldozers. They're really only there for roads, and sometimes you have to level out some ground. Cranes are super important. Don't sell short on the cranes. And then depending on the areas where you're building, sometimes you need a couple more excavators, sometimes you need a little more cranes, sometimes more buses, all those things. Just figure that out. But I like this. I like one with excavators, bulldozers, and buses, and then cranes are extra if they fit here. Then I have another one that just is cement and asphalt, nothing else. Just throw a bunch of dumpers in there and a bunch of cement mixers. Half and half is fine. Here I have some asphalt pavers and asphalt rollers, just because you need to place them somewhere if you're using asphalt road. And let me tell you, do not build gravel road unless you absolutely have to. I use gravel roads here for slower industrial areas, but your main road should always be asphalt if you can. And the other one full gravel. There's nothing else in here. Sometimes I'll put a bus in here or an asphalt paver or roller, but that's it. Normal trucks covered and covered and uncovered ones. Obviously a couple cranes in here. It depends on the area where you're at. Sometimes you need more flatbeds, sometimes you need more covered hulls, so on, so on, so on. And that's all fine. The thing that I really like, that I did a lot at the end or later on, was the double bus station. Why? Because your workers will always be used. They never leave. And like, they only have an hour of waiting time. Let's click on one of these. Waiting on platform, 1 hour. Once this hour is over, they would usually go home. But as long as you assign the other platform for your workers, where should workers go? Here, already assigned. What are you complaining about? There we go. This one's already assigned. As long as you have people going there, they will just go back and forth until they're going to work somewhere. And that is awesome. That helps you a lot. Distribution offices. These are not the big ones that I'm using. Well, these are not the ones that I use the most. This little fuel area over here has 2 bitumen, one bitumen and 3 fuel distribution offices. They work. They totally work. And this is fine. The problem is, very often, especially at the end, I had a fuel shortage because of bad rail designs. And that broke the whole Republic a couple times. I didn't record that, but I had to revert it. I was just like, this is not working. Because once the fuel tank was empty, and these guys weren't already on the way somewhere to drop off fuel for people, that's when you got into trouble. So DOs work for fuel delivery really, really, really great. But what you should do is have different hubs for the fuel delivery to actually deliver fuel. So you can react faster if you ever run out of fuel. Then once you get fuel back, you can distribute it faster again afterwards. Otherwise, your whole republic's going to suffer. And sorry, I have a little stuffy nose there. And that's what I did on the other side of the map. I eventually got another distribution office for fuel, and they're doing great. They're doing fuel and bitumen right now at the same time, and there are no problems. It's working, and they still have a really large area. And then eventually I put another... What's our power doing? Doesn't matter that much right now. Just showing you. But there's another one over here now. It's really far away, but this distribution office takes care of all the gas stations that are in the farm area and everything beyond this. And this is working a lot better than having one big distribution office anywhere. So do this. This, well, I like how this looks, but they're just so small. The buildings are so small, they're really not worth it to actually do anything with. So, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to build a city like this again. I'm really excited for helicopters because this city is purely to put people in the fire stations. And it's not even working right now, and I don't know why. This is not a fix-it episode. This is a I learned it episode because the season is effectively over. We have a couple more episodes to go, and I will have a live stream on Saturday. Please be there. I think it's at 1 o'clock Central Standard Time, if that matters. But you probably by now would have already seen a announcement or something. But that will be fun. This guy. It works. It works up to a point. The only thing that doesn't work is using a station or a through station and a terminal station because the trains are too stupid to do it. You know, at the beginning, I didn't have these connected, and I really just connected them very recently. But trains would go into the first station, and then they were like, well, I can't go over here. I don't know what you want from me. It's like, yeah, but you're doing it wrong. Do it better. So, yeah, it doesn't work the way I wanted it to with terminals, but it totally works for drop-off and pickup because it's the same idea as having two just bus stations sitting there so nobody ever leaves, and the trains effectively extend the travel distance for everyone. Now, this, too many junctions. Too many junctions, super simple. There shouldn't be this many, it's bad. There should be one that just goes straight through the middle. There should be a siding that takes you directly to this fuel station. This should be very different. It's too close, too many junctions, too many things go wrong, not working. Here, University Town. Big mistake I did here was put this train station out of reach of both universities. Well, it looks like that university can be reached, but it's too far away. The university can't actually be reached by people here, and for the longest time I didn't even bring any people to these universities. What should happen next time, essentially have a central train station for the university campus, have the dormitories be in range of the city, so people can go to the dorms, and then people in the dorms can go to school, but have this whole university campus just a little more offset, have a train station close enough that people can actually go to this area, and then have trains bring people there from all the cities around. Speaking of all the cities, Zone 4 city. Was this worth it? No. No, it wasn't worth it. I will not do a city like this again. It starts with this. Yes, we may get parallel updates, we may get underground updates, and all those things are great, but in the end, I will still have to supply a lot of the city. And this city, I think, is a big reason why we have a big lag. I think instead of having this one large city, having two smaller cities, maybe close to each other, would have been a lot better. But we didn't. But I don't think I will do a city this big again. Especially not with all these small buildings, although I don't think it could have more people per square foot of as you have with these buildings. So that kind of worked out. These buildings are really great for that. I kind of like these. The 97 and the 75, you can get a lot more people here. Otherwise, let's see. Let's see if I can prove what I'm talking about. You have these residential buildings where this one's the biggest one, 189. One of the 189s fits on about 3 of the 75s. 3 times 75, I'll let you math that out, is more. So just by square footage, this is more, and then one of these fits on about 2.5 of the 97. So both of these will give you a lot more citizens in the same area. Just pure space. The worst thing I did, I think, was build this city circle. The city circle with these stations is not working because everyone has to go around here, and just to go from this station to this station all the way around is a good hour, maybe even a little more. What needs to happen is trains that pick up somewhere have to be able to go back en route to the next target right away. I don't need them to run around the city. Now you can solve that by having a circle run around the city, and at the end have a station where they drop off all workers to go to a different train station. That could have worked. That would have been better and more efficient, but I didn't do that at all. I'd actually think a city tram route like that would be really great in this case. I didn't do that. And this is where we are. And even setting that up, having a city like that, would allow us to have more centralized utilities, like all these shopping centers that I added at the end, and I guess theaters weren't that bad, but I added a lot of amenities just at the very end. And I think this corner over here is pretty underprivileged. They rely on going to the stations and then going to wherever they need to go to, but that also requires them not to be picked up somewhere. So yeah, I think a bigger tram route here just for the city, and then a train route as a separate entity would have been a lot better. University, I needed to build this eventually because I couldn't keep up and I couldn't keep moving people around, mostly because I didn't use transportation to get people to the university city. That was a silly mistake, and that shouldn't happen again. But here we are now, so I built a university here. This could have been easily avoided. On that note, 10% of university educated, I don't think is enough. You should aim for 25, 30, and I will tell you why in a second. Radio and TV, I never worry about them too much. And it looks like right now I'm not giving everyone electronics either. You need those, otherwise they can't actually do anything. But this is just, you can boost your statistics with this, absolutely. And you can build more of these, as many of these as you want. Everyone has an impact on everything. But if you supply your cities with whatever you need, don't have to worry about that much. Sport is probably a nice thing, because in the winter you can't really do anything for sport. So that is good. And another thing that I know, you can bring education to people. That's about it. If you bring education to people, they will get education leveled up. Let's see here. So this number, the education level, will go up if they listen to radio, in this case, or TV if that does education. I heard that radio is a little better for that. But even when they hit 2.0, they're not going to get a degree. They have to go to the university at least for a little while to get their degrees, which I think is a pretty cool mechanic. These areas, yeah, love them. They're great. Clothing, this is more than enough for everything that I wanted to do. You don't need that much fabric to do anything. That one's great. Electronics here, I do need them to do a little more. So next time I'll probably add another industry area just like this, and then we should be fine. But yeah, this is working well, and I'm actually really happy with the layout. Very similar over here, electronics. It's working. Yeah, not much else to say. I think most of the industries works. Besides, of course, this. Was this a mess? No, I don't think it was a mess at all. But it was a miss. It was a miss because the livestock haul range never fills up, because the trucks that I have don't have a capacity big enough, and the actual slaughterhouse is producing is the wrong word, but is taking in way too many animals at a time, so you can never keep up with the slaughterhouse. Right now everything is kind of low because I'm not shipping enough grain here, but it's a matter of the fact. What I should have done here, what would have been a lot more effective, give each of these a way to connect to an internal rail network with a small train that picks up all the cows that are available at a time and then drops it off in this area, something like this. So the slaughterhouse could have been a little bit further away, maybe closer to the city in some area, maybe over here. That doesn't matter that much, but that way I can move more cows from different, what are they called? Cow farm. Yeah, that makes sense. And keep this area running, and the trucks wouldn't be necessary at all. And that would have helped, I think, with efficiency on this area. Otherwise, this is mapped out to technically bring enough meat in. Like it's, what is it? 250 tons of livestock, meaning the 15 tons that I do here, all of these together will give you 250. I'm sure it's a little more than that. But it's not necessary. I think if you get 200 tons of cows, you're doing just fine, because you're never going to run any industry at 100%. Construction railroad. Is this good? Yep. I'm using the gravel the most, though. Everything else I'm using a little bit, but the gravel I use the most. I think what I learned, I need to think bigger in terms of storage. Just because once the steel was full, nothing was happening. Once the bricks were full, nothing was happening. Eventually everything fills up, but if I do this again, I think I should do a storage like I am doing with the steel over here, where each storage gets like a larger one. Right now here are 16,000 tons of steel, and that works a lot better for when I have bigger projects, and then I can actually use... what's happening here? No coal. Yeah, whatever. Let's just give it coal. And that's really the problem. You have to store bigger amounts so that when you need it, you actually have it. And there are things where it's not that important, but obviously I'm low on boards. I think that gets me to the next point. Where is it? Timber. This area has served as a timber area for the whole time. Obviously, it's a pain to always have to replant your trees manually, but it is what it is. What I do think I should do is not just rely on 3 places to get me logs. I should have this spread out a little more across the Republic, so that at times I can have a train come in, drop off a bunch of logs for the wood processing industry, and then I just have a longer runway, because once these run out, nothing's going to happen. Yes, you can say the same thing is true if I have another area like this, but I should have double the trees to work with, so my lumber mill never runs out of logs to process. And that's what I really care about. But other than that, you don't need a lot of wood processing, because they turn one lumber into how many tons of wood? 180 tons of wood into 140 tons of board, and all of these generally have 20,000-30,000 tons of anything available. So there's usually a lot that you get out of the wood industry. What else do I have? Well, let's talk about the harbor. How's this going? I think it's fine. I think it works. I think I don't need the humongous tanker unless I have 4 refineries doing something here, because it's just, I can't do things fast enough. Don't wait until loaded. But the tanker one is okay. I need more refineries, and that's really not necessary, so I can just use a smaller tanker. I don't need the 10,000 ton tanker. These guys, the ore carriers, actually completely underestimated them. I need a lot more large aggregate storages, or I need a bigger fleet of trains picking these up and processing them. Ore carriers, great. Aggregate loading, haven't done it. Probably same thing. More storage, because these 8,000 versus almost 2,000. So 4 of these can barely fit up one ship. Just keep that in mind. So yeah, this needs a bigger area. Cargo. Regular cargo ship. This needs to be a lot bigger. Like, I cannot store anything in here when I have them actually pick something up, and I cannot have them drop off anything into a small warehouse. So I think what I should do here is actually have more targeted storages for the barges that come through here. So if I actually want to import grain, connect this to just a handful of grain silos so that at least one ship can be emptied all the time easily. And then when the next ship comes in, I hopefully have enough trains picking up stuff. This, the container harbor, that works. This is just fine. For containers and for cars and vehicles, I don't have a problem with this. This one doesn't need a lot of room, simply because, well, whatever is here can be there for a little while, and then it just works. Okay, what I'm really saying is the production of whatever happens here and whatever gets picked up here is going to be very different and somewhere else, and the volume there needs to be a lot bigger than at the harbor here. And a couple train loads can fill up a ship. So all that tells me this one is fine. Oh yeah, let's talk about this. This works if you just want plastic. And that's it. If you want anything else than plastic, this is not going to work. This is how you get chemicals, and I really like this layout. Someone was mentioning in a comment once, why did I use conveyor belts for everything? They're so much more expensive than just having a truck drop off a little bit of gravel everywhere. I would say that is true, but I'm producing all the steel myself. Like all of these, everything that you see here was built for free, technically, so I just like the efficiency, and then I use the gravel out here at the end for construction, and that works. All of this just works. I like how this looks. I like everything about this. I like the size. I like the train stations around them. This, I'm really happy about. This really worked. Am I using all the chemicals that I'm making? No. But it's fine. It all works. And I think right now I'm out of woods, or don't have a lot of wood. And that is okay. What else is going on? Vehicles. Oh my gosh. Each vehicle production line needs an area like this. So all actually trains are probably an exception, because whenever you want a train, you can probably just set it up to produce that train and then you get it. In the end, I wasn't using a high variety of trains. I really like the DBR512. Let's see if we can find it. What is it? Did I buy all of them already? Lame. No, I didn't. This one, the DR class 119. I really like that one, so one of them could be set up for that. I need a lot of tankers. One can be set up for that. I was using a lot of MVs and then a couple trams, so you can always set this up to produce one of them, but the real problem is I underestimated the need of getting engineers here. So if you want to run this efficiently, you need a city with a lot of engineers. Like 25% I think is a good number. I have 10%. It's not a good number. 25% of engineers, and then have a constant flow of traffic to these areas. And then if you set these up more centralized, so you do trains in one area, then you go a different city and do vehicles, and then you do a different cities and do ships, I think you're going to have a lot better time. Right now, this is fine. They're producing, especially car-wise, and I'm exporting all of them. But I'm not actually using many of the cars or vehicles that we produce here, just because I only have 2 of these. And I'm using a lot of covered holes in the farm areas, and that's great. But you have to get them out there first. And then I use a lot of construction office vehicles. You would need essentially what you want to do, you want to build one vehicle production line for each vehicle that you use a lot, if you actually want to use them. I don't really like the mechanics yet of how to move cars around, because every time you want to move something, it's about 3 clicks for every vehicle, and every construction of that I use now has 12 slots, and I use 4 of them. That's 48. I put a Steam post out there a while ago, but I don't like the mechanic. If it's less clicks, I will use this more, but honestly, I will not use the vehicle production for consumption, but I'm definitely going to use it for export, because it's just fun. Ships, totally worth it. It's fine. Just keep your numbers of workers high. That's all you should do. Also, I do like how this centralized distribution side is working. I really don't have any problems with it at all. I was kind of surprised by that. This rail yard, completely overkill. 2 lines, one for passengers and one for everything else would have been totally enough. But I'm also not overdoing it on the production. But look at this, there's generally not a shortage of anything. There was a shortage of something for a while, I think it was mechanical components because I didn't have steel. But overall, there's not that many trains that I expected to be here, which is a little sad, but it is what it is. What else do I have? Oh, I did learn, someone mentioned this on the last live stream. The accounting office now actually works by city. How do I know what city? Well, you can go to, naming a city, is that it? No. There we go. Bonigi. These blue dots tell you what the city is, and if there's a accounting office inside the range of those blue dots. Nope. Inside the range of the blue dots, then that's it. Accounting office will tell you what's going on. You can add another city part if you really want to and split that up, but why would you do that? Like, I could put one right here, and now this is a city, and this is a city, and this office belongs to Tabovina. Yeah, that's fine. But we don't need that, so let's just get rid of Tabovina. Thank you. And now it's just one city again. Didn't know that at one point the accounting office was for the whole republic, and I never tried it again since. This area is not producing enough clothes. It's okay, but it's not enough. That's all there is to this. We need more clothes, but the setup overall is fine, but it could be better. Back to this. The small modded fuel refineries are just not big enough to produce what you want. They're okay, but they're not big enough. You need bigger than these. Just build a real refinery and have less people in there, and then gradually increase the usage until you have enough people to work there. But don't bother with the small ones. They're really expensive at the beginning. Compared to a refinery, yes, they're a little cheaper, but plan a little bigger than this. I like the biofuel plant a little more, but then you don't get bitumen, so it's a trade-off there a little bit. Yeah, we're getting to the end. This was a lot of fun. I liked setting up the tourist town. That was great. That worked. I actually really like that I had to add the worker quarters back here that look a little different. I still don't understand what happened here. I know there was a glitch somewhere and it just deleted all the trees, but I know I didn't do it on purpose. But that's where we are. Tourists give you a lot of money. I think that's cute. As long as you keep all your people happy, that's fine. And this is actually working. This is a good sized city for what I want, because the drain here is working. And I still don't understand why this number is about double or between 2 and 4 times as high as what the buildings actually sum up as. I don't understand it, but I can tell you that this is working. This is keeping everyone warm that's in range, and everyone's in range, I think. Yep, every building's in range, and then a little extra over here. Power grid. I learned that what I did here is useless, because for each power transformer, rail power transformer, it only goes out up to the next power transformer, which means this one is supplying power everywhere to this side, but also, since there's a junction here, everywhere to the right of that junction, and then supplying power from this transformer to this transformer, and that's it. So this one is only supplying power up to here and up to here, and then these are all just like inner joined. So don't put your power transformers in serial, put them in parallel, and then this would actually add to the whole grid. Maybe they change it at some point, but I learned that. And how do I know that? You can actually look at the wattage. There's no output of wattage here, but there will be a little bit of wattage here, and there's a little bit of wattage here. That's all. So you know that the ones in the middle are not actually used. This is nice. I need to do that more, like smaller distribution hubs where stuff gets used. That is helpful. This small city is working. This whole area is kind of working. It's a good distance away from everything. Hey plane. Yeah, you're cool. Yeah. Before I go to Steel City, this area. This is a really well laid out farm. Works really well. Does exactly what I need it to do. Produces a lot. This food layout can probably feed a republic of at least 100,000. I mean, that's where we are. But it can do more as long as you supply workers. I would maybe set this up with 2 trucks in each lane, bring it to 3 different warehouses that are surrounding a cargo station next time. But overall, with the space that we had, I think this layout is pretty cool. This rail yard, we had all those problems at the beginning. There's a small fix that I know Jan and I talked about, and someone else was also mentioning it. But take out these signals, and, well, this whole orange section becomes 1. Then if there's no train waiting until unloading here, trains could actually go through here because it's all orange. But if there's a train there should only be a blue signal going this way. But honestly, I'm not 100% sure there. Let's see. If I put a chain here... Yeah, if I put a chain there, that's actually a blue one, because the orange one didn't work. So yeah, this is how you have to set it up. I can't take out both. But we had that problem at the beginning where everyone was stuck here because someone was waiting until unloaded there. Similar here. But I think once I took out... I think there was an extra signal somewhere here. Once I took that out, that's working better. This city? It's a really great city. It's a good size, has a lot of people there. I was short on educated people for a while, so I had to add a bunch of schools. Don't underestimate the number of schools you need. For this size of city, at least 2. I only had 1. So I went crazy and added 3 more. But that's working. This is a great, great hub. All the stations are really close to all the workplaces that I have, so people can work here, and this is actually in driving distance of the tourist town, so I could always get people out here to work, and that helped expand all of this, plus expand this city. This city! I don't love it. Why do I not love it? This heat exchanger is way too far away from the heating plant. This heat exchanger is fine. If there was a heat exchanger here and not there, it would probably be fine, but this one and this one is way too far away. That doesn't work. How do I fix that? Put a heat exchanger here, then supply both of these with pipes, one there with pipes, and then put another heating plant over here to supply the other side of the city, which is not what I want to do. So this city overall is just too long. I need to compact it more, or I need to use more heating plants. Pretty simple. Here. I think this is a great blueprint for how you should do airplane production. Right now we don't use aluminum for anything else, but this works really well. Even with importing the bauxite, these two produce so much actual bauxite so that these could actually use it, that we never had a shortage of this, even if I run this at really low numbers. The aluminum plant also works pretty well. Here is the other problem that I had before. Oh, the second plane is almost done. Oh, third, fourth. Same problem I had before. Underestimated the number of engineers that I actually want to have in here and the number of workers. So, yeah, make sure you have enough people to actually supply a full airplane industry. Which I don't think... Well, the problem is that people die here in the winter, not that I didn't have enough people planned. So, yeah, keep that in mind. You need a functioning area. Man, now I feel like I'm rambling, but I'm almost done. This area, love it. Love it. Everything is working. The cable cars are doing exactly what they need. They're killing my frame rate a little bit, but that's okay. All of this is working. The bridge is working. The people get up here. The fire stations are where they need to be. Everything is always filled. There are enough people to do everything I need them to do. The storage is in between here working just fine because, well, right now we're not needing any more steel. But when we need some, this is all working great. This whole construction crew office over here is working. We have the service industry, the technical services. That's what I wanted. Out there. I was a little surprised that, well, I shouldn't be surprised because from steel area 1, I said 2 coal and 2 iron can handle 1 steel. So I have 4 and 4 here, and that works pretty well. Again, there's the overlapping storages with a little extra of everything, and that's working really well. This inside loop for the steel melts is okay, but honestly, they don't fill up as fast as I want them to. the trains that go to the steel mills don't fill up as fast as I want them to. They're actually really slow. So it's something I would consider maybe putting a cargo station outside of them that should be a little faster than loading it up in the steel mill, or just having a normal storage area outside of the steel mills, and that would be fine. But that would have required that these two steel mills face each other in a certain way, and I have to run more conveyor belts around everywhere, and that wouldn't have been great. So for what I wanted here with the double steel mills, I actually do like this setup. I think that is great. This city, again, I think this is a great size. Everyone is pretty happy. I have a big school and a big kindergarten here, so I don't have problems with education. I don't have a university, but I have a bus somewhere that goes to this city. I'm dropping off some students. And that's working well, so we're never running out of doctors, even though we have a low number of doctors right now, just as I say it. But overall it's working. This is fine. And then I'm using this now, or I was using this to build the other city by the nuclear industry, but that's done now. Farms. Go big or go home. These are totally worth it. I like the shunting that happens here. I like a lot of stuff about this. The only thing I don't like is the fire stations that I had to place in really awkward places and didn't have people for them. But again, once we have helicopters, that may be solved and work a little more in my favor. How do I feel about these waypoint ends to turn around? Great. We'll do it again. Don't do it like this. This should be its own lane like I'm doing here. But it's working great for turnarounds. I think that's something I will do a lot more in the next season. I really like this. Because it's just, it saves you so much space and it just turns around right away. It doesn't block anyone and it's great. It's all you need. It's perfect. Yeah, fields here. I did make that guide, that tutorial, that test for the farms ones, and I still think the 1-to-1 ratio is the best. And that is 6 harvesters, and each harvester can do 3 fields. You lose a little bit in the winter, but they can also do 1 to 2 medium fields in the beginning. So let's do 1. So 24 fields per farm is doable. But honestly, use the space that you have. If you have a lot of farms like this, you will produce close to 5,000 tons of crops a farm if you set it up right. So 6 farms here, that's 30,000 tons of crops. That's a pretty good number. And even right now, when I have the food production over there running well, I'm not actually taking the crops everywhere else. These crops are actually stocking up. So yeah, it's working. Just build a big area of farms and build a lot of them. I wouldn't just build one of the 24, just build the vanilla ones, they're fine. Here, first I'm gonna build a nuclear plant. It's fine. It's nothing too exciting. Do I actually have some work in here? No, this is for the live stream. We'll make this work in the live stream probably. But you can only connect 1 cooling tower per side, which is a little sad. I was hoping I could do all 4, but that's fine. This industry is working. Works like every other industry. If you have some available, you have some available. Otherwise, you don't. Are there people in there? Cool. It's honestly, it's just working just fine. I'm not worried about it at all. No engineers. You need more engineers here. That's fine. Yeah, I'm almost done. This city, someone had a cool idea. They said I should reproduce this city with the nuclear plant for season 2 and then continue from there. The only problem I have with that, this city is rather large for a starter city, and the nuclear plant is super expensive for a starter city, so I don't know if I can pull that off. I actually really liked how the heating worked out here. Looks kind of neat. I'm actually using all 10,050 cubic meters of heat from here, just with 3 heating stations, even if they're a little longer. So yeah, I kind of like the whole layout here. I think that's cool. One thing I didn't know, the headquarters is actually teaching people. I had no idea. So when he's done school time, speed it up a little bit. Should be at 2 point. How did you not upgrade? How did you... Wait, what? I don't understand. Pick another one. 1.25. When you're done with this, you are at 1.33. Yeah, 0.8, 0.08. So yeah, the headquarters also teaching people, and I have a university here, obviously. Is there a difference? So 0.8 was at the headquarters. You are getting... I'm still working on the university tutorial. Maybe it came out on Monday. Maybe it's coming out next Monday. They didn't get one, so they don't get one every time. I want to see one that actually gets a boost. 167. Okay, same number. No, 0.08. So the headquarter and the university do the same thing. I didn't know that. They are in the same category, but I always thought it was just a lost in translation thing. They're all three right here. And if you look at them in terms of money, headquarter 239, 183, and this. So the technical university, which is the long one, is the cheapest. The last thing that I will say, and you will say I told you so, that is you told me, not me told you. Electric tracks. Electric rail tracks. Build them early, build them everywhere, build them for everything. Why? Because they're faster. The diesel trains, there's one passenger train that goes up to 150, but the next fastest regular train is 120. And the electric trains go up to 160. That's a quarter. Is that a quarter? 1/3 increase? Can't do math right now, but it's a significant enough increase where I would say build electric rails. I wasn't building them at the beginning because, one, I'm stubborn, and two, I was saying I wasn't producing electrical components. Well, produce electrical components sooner. They're not that hard to produce. All you need is steel, plastic, and chemicals. Okay, so you do need a lot. And electric hold on. Oh, you're producing this. Yeah, plastic, steel, chemicals, and you need a lot of chemicals for plastic. So you need a lot of chemicals to make electrical components. But it's totally worth it. Do it. Absolutely. Airport. Yeah, you can use these more, and I think it's fine. They're bringing in tourists now, and I think that's cute. It's just an airport. I would like to use them more, but they're not really... The utility isn't really there. Maybe if I build another university town, I will try to make students fly in, but... Honestly, how realistic is that? How fun is that? How necessary is that? Because you can have a train that goes across the whole map and probably still drop off students, especially with the extension method that I do for the passenger hub. So we can go from there to there in 4 hours. So we can probably go from here to here in 4 hours. I tried that before. Then from here to here in 4 hours, and here to here in 4 hours, and... You see what I'm saying? You can go very far with a train, especially if you put a university centralized on your map. I think that's all I have. I hope that if you have questions, you bring them to the live stream. Saturday at 1 o'clock. I have to look up the date, but I don't know the date. I think it's April 2nd. And yeah, that's all I have. I thank you guys so much for watching this whole season. If you watched throughout this whole episode, let me also tell you, there will be a giveaway in the live stream. There will be a giveaway in the live stream. I have one more key from Peter, and I didn't want to do another giveaway King Sumo thing because it's fine, but the Twitter was broken, and you know, it's not that great. So let's rather do it in a live stream. There will be a question about the season. There will be a question about the season. Thank you guys for watching. See you again next time. Bye.